Hey everybody, Uncle Rob back with you on part 2, and man, I tell you what, it's a good thing you guys are not backstage with us because I just made a total fool out of myself backstage. But hey, it is what it is, and it makes us human. We're here with Mr. Bill Luther, who has written songs for Tim McGraw, songs for Kenny Chesney, as well as many others. If you're watching on the YouTube channel, you can see he's got a BMI plaque in the back. He's got some, is that Jason Aldean down there on the left side of you? Down at the bottom?
I don't do no bragging, so.
Well, I want you.
I'm not a real good painter, so I just use those for the paint. But no, you got plaques for Tim McGraw, Kenny Chesney. I got BMI awards and stuff like that, like all these other people down there, you know.
we talked about a lot of stuff in that first section, but real briefly before we get back to our ranting and going off on here, tell us some of the artists besides Kenny and besides Tim McGraw that you have written for.
Well, if I don't knock this thing over. I'm in a knocking it over process now. One thing I was going to say real quick, too, hold that thought and make me remember it, but thank God for coffee.
Yes, sir.
I mean, outside of the good Lord, the coffee has been probably one of the greatest things that's ever happened to the music industry.
Yes.
You don't have to drink coffee. You could probably go get something else or whatever, but I'm telling you, coffee has saved many a co-write. Yes. Many of a co-write. I've had cuts on... well, my first cut was Milo Mason, then Tim McGraw records, and then Faith Hill, Kenny Chesney, Tim McGraw, just a bunch of Jody Messina, Andy Griggs, Lone Star. Yeah, we've been blessed to have some songs like that, you know, and there's been a few other little weird things that pop up that you forget about, but the only reason I put them in here is just because I want to say to myself when I come in here, not like, look at this. I've never been that way. I always feel like that's not a good thing, man. I don't brag about nothing or whatever. Try not to. I mean, because I feel like we're just happy. But at the same time, you know, I'm not just going to put nothing in here, you know. But I was going to let you know this hat right here. When I started off, this is my brother's hat. He's been gone now for almost 2 years, and I wanted to just have a shout out to my brother Ron. We played a lot of golf and had a lot of good times. When I first moved down here and didn't have nothing, me and Michelle, he came down for my birthday and bought me an Onkyo system, speakers, everything, man. Just hooked me up, man. It was unbelievable. At that time, I remember, I'm trying to think of some of the people like Out of the Silent Planet and some of those crazy rock and roll people. But yeah, I miss and love him and think about him all the time. And, it's crazy when you start losing people, man. It really is. And then you start thinking, well, man, am I next? I don't know. But I'm still writing, and I'm still working on songs. I've got songs I'm working on right now. I am talking to a publisher right now, and some other things that I want to do. I want to start playing out more. I like to play out. Sometimes it's terrifying. I know it wouldn't be for you, bro, because I mean, you're like Superman, dude. I mean, just sitting here talking to you, it's like I said, I wish I had about this much of your energy, brother. Man, I tell you. But
got it anytime you need it, buddy. You got it anytime you need it.
Well, thank you so much.
I'm in awe of you, just so we're straight. I have always been. I've told you this sitting in the writer's room. I've told you this in the car going to get lunch. And I'm telling you right now in front of everybody, I am a massive, and always have been a massive Bill Luther fan. And you don't need the awards. If you ever wonder if you've got what it takes on that day, call me. I'll make sure we have church and the truth is crystal before you hang up with me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, I'm very grateful, you know, that we made it through the hurdles, you know. But at the same time, though, the great thing about writing is that you can be anybody. That's why I mean, you might want to take that one thing out earlier, but because I don't want to pick on nobody or sound like I am, but it's like it's like that one thing that you can if you can sit down. But I think you have to I think I've done some podcasts myself and trying to tell people about getting with people. It's like you get a little core group. If you're first starting out and stuff like that. That's why I wouldn't mind doing some seminars and stuff, talking to kids and stuff, and people that want to be songwriters, because there's a lot to it, but there's little things that come out as you're talking about it. To sit here right now and try to, to open up a book of all these different variables when it comes to music. I think the big thing is, like I said a minute ago, is that you have to, if you love it, if it feels good, but sometimes we don't know how for it to feel good. I can remember when all of a sudden Guns N' Roses was making some kind of coming into like country music and stuff but not really, but they were worried about that, and it's kind of done what it's already did, whatever, however you want to say that. But I think all this stuff is really good to be in the mix and just see what comes up, because and I think there's nothing wrong with praying. I pray all the time about stuff and not just music. But for me right now, I've got songs that I'm working on that I will let you know when I get some of these things rounded off, because like I said, I'm getting ready to I'm going in to do a thing. I was supposed to do it today, and we worked things. There was a lot to get me in this point right now because of my overnight thing that I'm doing, and but I was able to go ahead and get a hold of their assistant, which I was so glad, because I didn't want to miss this deal, to sit down and at least see if there's some options and stuff like that. So I'm finishing up those songs, which are super, super close. And you never know. It's like, it's one of those things that you got to see what happens. But I think a lot of times we can check ourselves. We can go like, hey, man, whatever. But at the same time, too, is that, people that are trying to, I don't know that I could write a book about writing, but I love to talk to people, and get down to like if you, for one thing, this is like an open-ended thing. First of all, you could say, well, I'm not going to do it for the money. Well, yeah, you are if you want to, because you can see where people make money. I'll never forget when I was finding out that you could get on there and make some money. And then on the other side of that, you could do something worthwhile. You could write a song that maybe you're going to make some money, whatever, but you're going to write a song that really means something to you. I will never forget when I was a kid. I was, not a kid. I was a little bit older than that. I can't get the exact moment of it, but my dad was in the Navy for 20 years. He was a man's man. My wife, Michelle, her dad, we lost him here. It's been 7 years now. It was horrible, but we lost him. But I can remember walking in the house one time. This is no lie, man, and it's a great little thing that I wanted to remember. I walked in the house, and my dad was in the house, didn't know I was there, and as I walked in, I heard this beautiful voice in the kitchen. And it was just this beautiful voice. And I walked in there, and it was my dad singing. And I just couldn't believe it. I'm like, who are you? Because I'd been doing music stuff like that. And I'm like, who are you that, and I thought, wow, my dad has a beautiful voice. And this is when I'm like 13 years old. And I walked in there, and I'll never forget that moment, man. And that probably had something to do about music. Music always made me feel good. And I didn't have to listen to all of it. I didn't have to listen to Jethro Tull, or not Troll, but Tull. They were brilliant, but I didn't have to listen to everything. But there was so many great songs. And I don't know if you know who Trent Reznor is, but this friend of mine, his name is John Trevethan. I got in the car with him one day. We're on 16th Avenue over there, and he was working over there. And I got in the car, and he said, let me play you something. He started playing it, right? And I said, well, what is this shit? What is this stuff? Golly, I'm so sorry. But anyway, I was like, what is this? He goes, this is Trent Reznor, 9 Inch Nails. I'm like, well, who is that? And then I'm sitting in the car, and I'm listening to the demo from Youngstown, Ohio. I'm one of the first people with my friend to hear that demo. Trent Reznor. So I thought I had to get that story in there. Sorry. And I thought, well, isn't that cool, man? And just something that's totally not the country music thing, but that, So that's a great thing. And I guess Trent was there's a lot of weird things about him, but I think Trent was like a really great guy. I was talking to some people who said he was so sweet to people and just really helping people. his parents were like millionaires. He had Trent Reznor heaters, but I just heard he was such a great guy. And then of course he goes and does the whole thing, his whole deal, which was crazy. But I guess that's a different kind of music. So,
well, truth is the truth, and that's why Johnny Cash gravitated towards it. The packaging.
Oh yeah.
The packaging is what distracts so many people. You change the packaging for the marketing, but the truth is the truth. And that was an automatic fit to me when Johnny Cash recorded "Hurt." I was like, absolutely.
Oh, me, I was blown away, man. That was absolutely just the greatest thing to hear that in him. And it's just haunting, there at the end. And for, who was it? Rick Rubin that did that whole deal. Man, thank God for Rick Rubin. Even for, working with Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers and stuff like that. I mean, I love Wildflowers and just all that different stuff. And, but Johnny Cash, man, that guy right there. I mean, I remember it was Christmas time when I was a kid, and I put that record on from Folsom Prison, and my mom came in. It was playing as about being hung and everything like that. My mom comes and goes, "It's Christmas, don't you?" You can sit here and listen to freaking Johnny Cash in 1965 or whatever in Folsom Prison, man. But anyway, so yeah, that gets pretty country there. And they all kind of came from the South. We got a lot of people down south, Virginia. I was born in Portsmouth, and got to meet a lot of people down there. My dad hadn't been down there in years. Got down there, he got in that whole bunch, and he broke down. He was crying. He was upset that he didn't come back and forth more than he did and stuff. But we had a good time. That was the last time he was down there, as far as down in Roanoke and all that. And I was born down there as a little kid. But yeah, man, good people down there. They were really great. They still had, there was a couple of them that still would like use little words, and I'm like, ooh, I don't know that y'all should be talking about saying that word. But I think, well, really, and as we progress, I think people are realizing that you go through I'm not going to get into a thing about phonetics and culture and stuff like that. But, I'm still just going to love people for who they are. I think it's a different thing if somebody comes at you in an absolute, direct, kind of, like not in a hurtful way or whatever. I was going to tell you a quick story. You want to hear one?
Yeah.
Hey, that's what we're here for, man.
2 years. Okay, my brother was all the hippies and stuff like that. Well, they had built a tree house. I lived on a glacier lake. It's still there right now. It's up Pennsylvania, and it's actual glacier lake. They found a dinosaur bone, all that kind of stuff there. And a really great place, natural, just walleye, all kinds of stuff. My grandfather, step-grandfather, he had a sports store and everything. When my brother and all these friends of his, they went ahead and started, I didn't know this at the time, but I learned later, and I'll get to the story real quick. And it's kind of funny. But anyway, so basically, they went out there and down from the railroad tracks, and they stole all these 2x4s, brand new 2x4s. So they didn't go down there and make a tree house, and that's what they were doing. They weren't making a tree house out of, junk stuff. They were making it out of 2x4s. They found a tree where you could walk along the limbs all the way up to the top. This tree house was, at least 65 feet up off the ground, if not more. It was way the hell up there, had a bottom platform, then had a whole top platform. Well, I finally, after 2 years of looking for it, found it. Back with a bunch of trees, went in there like an expeditionist in the frickin' Amazon and found the golden tree. So we got out there, and I went and grabbed all my friends, man. Steve Doherty, another Steve Eicher, John Miller. I grabbed them all. I said, come on, we're heading out there. I found the treehouse. Got out there. We had to get one thing for the first step. Once you got the step, you're up there. Got all the way at the top of that tree, right? So what do you think Dummy did?
Fell through?
Nope. Dummy pulled out a gigantic joint. And we smoked a joint up there, right? All of us. Sorry. Smoked a joint up there on the top of this thing. And we learned our lesson. We got up there. And once we got up there and got high, we were so stoned, now we were afraid to get down.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
We spent, I'm not kidding you, I'm telling you right now, we spent 4 to 5 hours up there. We were just up there. It seemed like forever. And then finally, because we couldn't even move, Finally, somebody said, I'm getting out of here. It was Greg O'Day. And he got out the tree, and then, well, the rest of us were like, well, hell, we're not staying here. we got to get out of here, man. So we got down there and got out of that tree and stuff like that. So I always like to tell that story. It was a funny one. And we learned a lesson. We learned a lesson on that one right there.
Don't get high in the tree at 65 feet up.
Yeah, don't do it, man. Don't do it. And I think it's still probably out there, but I wouldn't. I don't know if a squirrel would be safe trying to climb up it now. Cheers.
You probably get up there and old Rocky the squirrel's sitting up there smoking a fatty.
Yeah, somebody left the whatever there.
We used to. It's funny you mentioned that. You made me think of something. There was one of those giant red oak trees. It was like, and it's sad because this thing had to have been like 1,000 years old, that kind of old. No, like for real.
It'd been around for a while.
Yes, it was massive. I mean, like almost kind of like a mini version of those redwoods that you could drive the car through kind of deal. You know, it was that big. It was so huge. And like the bottom branches on this tree were probably like in their diameter, the bottom branches were probably like 4 feet. Like the thickness or as the width of a sheet of plywood, like 4 feet. That was the bottom. This was a massive tree. And there were some older kids that were like in wood shop or something. And I don't know where they got all the lumber. Somebody was tearing down the lumber, but these kids had hauled all this massive amount of real construction material over to this tree, and they built a tree house that, I kid you not, this tree house was probably 1,100 square feet, like a house. It was massive. It was huge. It was a full-size house in a tree that these kids, it didn't have plumbing, and there wasn't electrical, but and there wasn't a window unit or anything. But other than that, it was all like a structure of a full-size house up in this tree. They put shingles on it, everything, and the branches were going up through the rooms and coming out the top. You know, they closed in around, so it was like a real deal. And I remember as a kid thinking that was the coolest thing in the world, but I didn't understand weight, and I didn't understand wind drag. And at some point, a big storm came through, and it was attached enough to the house, to the tree, that it made the whole tree blow over. The whole tree. You saw that massive roots and everything up in the air and all that stuff. But that was all because those fools went in there and built that tree house, and it acted like a big sail when the storm was coming through. The tree, it would have handled a storm, but not with all that weight on it and the wind blowing against it. And it ended up happening. So that was kind of a sad ending to that story. But I remember, we can remember the treehouse stuff. Most kids don't know anything about that. Most kids can't even play out in the yard anymore.
Yeah, it's a whole different thing. You know, I was going to segue a little bit, I mean, as far as the treehouse. But I was wondering if you knew this. When I first came to town, backing up a little bit, I can remember when you would go to a publishing house. The first song I ever got recorded was with Buddy Blackman. And I met Buddy Blackman. He wrote that song in 1982. I was working at the Steeplechase, and that time I was working also for lighting and sound for a tent, because they were having a big party for the print. One of the princesses was coming in. Royalty was going to come in because they'd had the where they had the horses that go over. You know, I know what all it is. They had a lot of stuff going on that day. Well, I was in there and I was doing our thing, and this lady was over there doing something. And I said, "Hey, I'm done with all my lights." I said, "You know, can I help you do something?" She said, "Oh yeah." So I started helping all this stuff, and I didn't care because I was done. And then later on, she said, "Well, what are you doing here in Nashville?" I said, "Well, I just like this. I hate to say it because I know we don't, talk about it, but I said I want to be a songwriter." She goes, "Oh, you got to meet my husband, Buddy Blackman." He wrote the song in 1982, so that's when I met Buddy. Well, so this is a great little story. It's a cool one, man. My dad has a good little thing on the back of this. So I go to write with Buddy Blackman, who's also this really great banjo player that played on, Smokey and the Bandit, did all that kind of stuff. Really just a great guy. And I was just, you can imagine. I was like, can't believe it, I'm here. And he did this and that. And I just kind of, freaking out. Well, we ended up getting this song together. I can't even remember it. I have to ask him if I saw him. We got this song, and it was at EMI. We went over there, and we did a demo on it. And next thing we find out, Randy Owen heard the song. Randy Owen heard the song, said he loves the song. I love this song. And I'm trying to think of the guy that was down in Muscle Shoals, the piano player down there. He also became a producer. What's his name down there in Muscle Shoals? Just famous, big famous guy. Geez, old Pete. Did all kinds of production work and stuff like that down at Muscle Shoals and everything like that. I wish I could think of his name real because that's terrible. But anyhow, so I was sitting there thinking, man, we're going to get a cut. We're going to get this. I was just thought for sure I was going to get a cut, man. And then all of a sudden we got what was his name? I just almost had it right there. Anyway, the producer that was working on this said, well, hey, man, we're not doing that record now. And basically he just dropped the whole record. And I remember I was like, oh, crap, because I was like right there thinking that right there, man, I'm going to have a cut and stuff like that. Then it turned out, and my dad said, what did he say? He said something about, oh, man, I wish I'd thought better on this. He said something, well, I can't remember what he said about it, but basically was just saying that, it just wasn't meant to be or whatever, something like that, or just didn't happen or what. I just blew that right there. But anyhow, after that, I was like, that's when I thought I've got to get serious. I went and met with Jody Williams and got in there with those guys, and he hooked me up with Karen Conrad. I had to get her in here on this, and thank God for her. She's been great, and we had our ups and downs, but she's a sweetheart, and I always love her. And yeah, and that brings me back all the way back around to getting here.
That's how we met.
Yeah.
Because you and Josh, you guys were with Karen, I think, and then Randy Hart had signed me, and I was always getting hit with the 1 year curse. So whoever would sign me, it seemed like 1 year into them signing me, they would always transfer to another company or they would retire or something. So that 1 year, I would just be turning my wheels and just getting everything locked in. And then there would always be a changing of the guard at a publishing company, at a record label, something. That was always happening. So that's another side of the pro side of the business side. Most people don't realize you get you a big record deal, you get a big publishing deal, and you think you're locked until the person who was your champion, who was excited about you, when they leave, the new person that comes in is not going to have the same level of excitement because you're something they inherited, not a project they were invested in.
Yeah, I got you on that one there, man. It's funny because I look back on the whole thing. It just seems like a circus.
It was.
It was a music circus, and definitely it had the music, and it was so exciting to be down there and to be working on stuff. And I wish that I was. I looked at people like Craig, and it's like, and Brett James. It's like they just Ashley Gorley too, obviously, but Hillary Lindsay, what a great writer. Incredible. We sat down with, there's a friend of mine that was a young kid. This is a weird thing you want to think about. That was a tough thing to figure out and navigate. When I was really happening and stuff like that, a friend of mine was here going to college, and his folks were back home in Pennsylvania. And so I basically pulled him in to be a writer, because he's from back home and stuff like that. And that was a cool thing there. But then there was some weird things that happened. Like we were doing some stuff. Hillary's so talented, man. It's like, and I was getting into another publisher, and just everything was getting weird. Like it was almost like I'm like, why are you pissed off at me? Why? What is this? This? And I could tell you the name of that publisher. And I thought, so I walked out, and I shouldn't have walked out. I needed to stay there, and I needed to stay there working with, I think I got a little jealous because of this kid from out of town. I thought, well, he doesn't really know what he's doing. It's like, I wanted to write with Hillary, but it turned out that, the ingredient was that little thing in the oyster, that little thing that became a pearl. And maybe not so much for me either, but more for my friend. And I'm glad, because they ended up getting a bunch of hits. And that was a hard thing. But then I started thinking, well, no, wait a minute. Why are you here? Are you here for you? Because if you're here for you, you probably need to go ahead and just check out.
Yep.
At this point, in my career or whatever this is, it's like, you need to love this stuff and you need to promote people. And not because, okay, if I promote them, this may ride along with something. If I promote them, they'll do something for me. No, if you promote them, where I failed that, but then I didn't fail that because I did where I promoted and I did where I didn't promote. And that was probably out of jealousy and stuff. And the other was out of love, And it's like in that process of doing that, you're still doing something good. And that's going to be way better for you than getting out here with this awkward strategy that whatever it is, this net that gets thrown out there and you're lost. And it's like now you're doing something where nobody even needs to know that you did it. It's just that you do it and you release that thing. And I think when that happens is you release that thing. And then God, as you release that thing in love, he puts something else in you.
Yeah.
He puts some more love in you. And I'm telling you right now, I say this and it'll sound like it's worn out, but I'm telling you from my heart of hearts, love really is the answer. And I don't mean like love and, I'm talking about the love of God, the love of the Holy Spirit, the ministering angels. I'm talking about love. And if you can roll with love, like right now, this is what I'm at with my life right now. Even if I don't, and I have some things here that I'm working on right now that are really close and I really feel them and I don't even know, but you know what? They're like little babies. You got to go ahead and finish them up and you got to hand them over and somebody might hand them back and they didn't, it didn't look the way you handed it to them. You know what I mean? But if we're doing that, if we're loving people, and even like with people I know right now in situations where I don't know what to do about these people. I don't know how to, I've got a boss right now that I'm working with that just will not, he just is on me all the time. It's crazy. But I think love really is the answer. And it's that one thing that's always going to come back around and it's going to produce something. Whereas envy and jealousy is always going to come back around and produce something that's not good.
What you just said about having somebody that's on you all the time, you understand that has a lot less to do with you than it has to do with their issues within themselves. And so that's number one. And number two, your greatness never went anywhere. Your greatness has always been there, whether or not people could see it or not. That's like, and the biggest thing that I've always had an issue with was the fact that just the machine itself has always been a rigged game. If you have 3 horses on the track and everybody's talking about how fast they are, and one horse is called heart condition, the other one's called can't see, and the third one's called stroke on Tuesday. They're all 3 crippled horses and they're talking about how fast they are, and they'll be able to sell that narrative because way back at the far end of the parking lot in a big 40-foot Connex container, they have got Pegasus locked down in there so nobody even knows Pegasus exists. That's how they can sell that narrative with the machine, is by owning pieces of all the other cripple horses on the track and removing anything that might be competitive. And people inherently will think those are the fastest horses on the track. You, sir, to me, have always been an artist. You're at the forefront of what that is, and they're going to see it. If you want to, right here publicly on this show, if you want to work with me again, I would be proud to get in there and you be the artist this time. Don't be pushing on, me going out there. I picked all my fights. I ain't got a problem with jumping on them, but I want to show you off the way that you're supposed to be. So, and we've got the team, we got the people, and we would be proud to push you on out there and let everybody see the artist's pick for the artist.
Yeah, that sounds great. That sounds great.
I think that would go real good with our new partnership with Cashbox, Rhino.
I do too.
Hey, the guy you were talking about in Muscle Shoals, was it Rick Hall?
No, not Rick Hall. He played like a little, oh gosh, I can't think of it. Well, his son is still here. I hate when I do this.
That's called old people problems, Bill. That's called old people problems.
I'd seen a big documentary on the Muscle Shoals sound a while back, and I remember that name Rick Hall, and that's why
Rick Hall. Yeah, he's one of the main guys down there. But there was another guy that was a producer, and his son's a drummer. Anyway, I can't remember it exactly.
No, the memory is the second thing to go, and I can't remember what the first one is.
Yeah. Well, I tried to do notes and stuff as I got started here. Can I tell you two more things? We have a minute.
Yeah.
Well, there's all kinds of
we got another 25, 30 minutes.
Okay, I'll make this quick. So, a couple other things I want to tell you really quick I thought were funny as far as music. These things that stand out, especially when it's something that you're trying to do and it's your life and whatever, blah, 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 hobby or career or whatever. So, I had a chance to go down to Pittsburgh. There was a friend of mine down there. They had a restaurant downtown Pittsburgh, and I used to go downtown from way up in Pennsylvania. They'd take me down there downtown, which I remember the first time I went down, they went up in the steel building. It was like I thought I was going to fall down. It was so huge up off the ground. Well, we got passes to go see Van Halen. And that day they had Van Halen on the record on the radio, and he'd dropped the F-bomb and all that. They were just crazy. And I just was finding out who they were, but I didn't really know. So we went ahead and got taken down to all the way down to this one place where we got on a bus. Then we got on a trolley. Then we got to all the way downtown to the Civic Arena, whatever it was down there, whatever you want to call it down there in Pittsburgh. Got down there. We're like 14 years old. We go in there, me and John go in this place. It's just crazy wild going on. I mean, one guy was trying to walk down some stairs and fell, whatever. But anyway, the funny thing was this, and I'll move to another.
That was Rhino.
Huh?
That was Rhino that fell down the stairs.
This guy needed a parachute. So we got in there, and right off the bat, when we got to sit down, there was two bikers sitting there in our seats, and this Asian guy came over, not anything about an Asian guy, whatever, it was just a guy that was whatever, and he came in and he goes, "You're in their seats." And we're like, "Oh, no. They can sit there." We're like, "We don't want these bikers to beat us up, man." He actually got these bikers to get up so we could sit in those two seats. I thought, geez, we almost got killed right off the bat. And anyhow, as we were coming downtown on that trolley, it was like a freaking Holocaust, man, of just, like buildings destroyed and everything like that. That Pittsburgh was really weird. It's all cleaned up now. It's a beautiful place. So anyway, we're sitting there, man. The band's playing and all this stuff. And I look over to my friend John. I said, "Man, this band's amazing." He said, "That's the warm-up act." I'm like, "Are you serious?" So like a little bit later, all of a sudden the stage opens up and it's freaking Van Halen. It's like their second year of being on tour. Van Halen like you've never seen it before, dude. I will never forget that as long as I live. It was just absolutely unbelievable, man.
You're looking late 70s right there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll never forget it. It was killer. It was absolutely killer.
Ain't Talking About Love, I think Van Halen.
All that stuff. Jamie's Crying.
Yeah.
Running with the Devil. Mm-hmm. All that stuff that blew a lot of really great guitar players out of the water. The other story I was going to tell you very quickly was another life and death kind of story. I was a young kid, and my friend John that was in this thing with the concert and all that stuff, we were best friends for a long time. We still are. We talk a little. Well, not now. Things are going on. But anyway, we were best friends like brothers. Well, they went ahead and allowed me to go on a camping trip with them, and it was all college guys except for me and John. So we got all the way out there and stuff. It was like forever to get out to the river. Got to the river, went all the way up this path. It was like 5 miles up there, all the way up in there. Got up in there, and that first night, I started drinking alcohol. Well, this guy kept giving it to me, and he felt really bad later, one of the college guys, and I was so freaking drunk. It was just unbelievable. They thought I was going to die. I looked like I was like just cold and just, just like I was white. They were all scared to death. Well, then the next day I woke up and literally I could not get the film out of my eyes. It took forever. I'm not kidding you, forever. And even though there was a river down there, because we were on a river, and I couldn't get that stuff out of my eyes. It was the craziest thing. And I was just dehydrated and just, hung over and everything like that. So I went ahead, everybody was gone or sleeping. They were all kind of sleeping around me. I went all the way back down the river, all the way back down there. And I'm walking down there all by myself. And I get all the way down there. And what happened was the night before, somebody had dropped a 2-liter bottle of Mellow Yellow. It fell out of their backpack. Can you believe this? Fell out of their backpack. I went over there and picked it up because I got that, got up on a big stone, opened up that Mellow Yellow and just sat there and sipped on that. And it was like, I thought if there ever was a little thing from God for me at that point, that he knew I need that, knew I was going to be there, knew I was going to need that. And I'll never forget it because, I just sat there and just sipped on the whole bottle. And I drank the whole bottle. I'm sorry. And I drank the whole thing of this where somebody it fell out of their backpack. And I'll never forget that God was looking at me that many years ago. He was looking at me, and he saved my life that night. I could have very easily died that night. I wouldn't be talking to either one of you right now on the phone or on this podcast. And I wanted to say that, and I wanted to say that I thank the Lord Jesus Christ for saving me. And I thank him for his love and his graciousness. And I just pray for people to just give your heart to Jesus, man. And I think things work out, you know. And it's not for everybody.
And be wise and vigilant when the good Lord sends you the people you need when you need them the most.
That's right.
You're a blessed man, brother.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
It's
been a long road.
You've blessed a lot of people with your craft and your ability to write big songs, man.
I never knew
you touched a lot of people.
Thank you. I never really knew, like maybe all of us, it's just somehow things would come. I'm like, so I could never really go like I did that. I'm not kidding. It's like somehow just, I don't know how to explain it. For the longest time, I didn't know how to write a song. And then when I started, I mean, maybe it was this process, and maybe it's the really great thing about Nashville, Tennessee. And there's so many great things about Nashville, Tennessee, and I'm not just saying that. But there's just so many things about it that, like, I'm not saying it was a giant boot camp, but there was something about that whole thing down there, this whole kind of breathing, alive, I don't know, and the music, the Opry, the concerts that come into these venues now, the big stadiums, everything. There's something really great about it, and
the city is very magical.
Yeah, it can be frightening. It can be wonderful. Sometimes I'm afraid to even drive downtown anymore. I used to just scoot down there all the time. I got a thing coming up here. I got to go down here later this week. I'm like, crap, dude. I'm like, I don't want to get in that traffic. Well, and I think everybody's
we were the ones that made it magic. You know, I think about Josh before Josh had his cuts. I think about you when I first met you, you know, and what was your thought? I know you, because we were all from totally different backgrounds.
Oh, yeah.
What was your thought when I came rolling into the first writing appointment? Do you remember?
Oh, I felt like you were like a big tree. You know, it's like you just, I mean, it's like, well, you're like, what are you, 6'5"? And I thought, I said, my God, this guy here, man, ain't nobody going to mess with us. He'll high karate chop him. But no, I thought just as I do now, I thought you're a loving human being, a good guy, and always been really nice to me, and I always think the world of you. And I think we kind of like, to be really honest, I think people kind of go out and they come back in, and people are maybe involved with something over here. They can't be involved with that. It's just a plethora of, you know, possibilities, the way the wind blows. I mean, there's a part of me that, like, I would like to move back to Pennsylvania. I'd like to get out and start playing songs up there. I've got songs right now that I'm getting ready to go play to a publisher that, and, you know, they're different, you know, but they're not too different. And, and that's the only thing you can do is write. For whatever reason, I've always had an ability to write. And I love to find melodies, even if I'm changing up tuning and things like that. But I think, just like I said probably way too many times already with our discussion hanging out here today, is that, like, you have to love something first. And I feel like a lot of people didn't really love it. They wanted it. They wanted it, but they didn't love it.
They wanted the things that it could lead to.
Right, exactly. That's right on the money. And I'm not trying to be mean with that. I will say this too, just in case this is something that I need to let you know this. I will let you know this one thing, though, that is important to me, is that Karen Conrad was very important to me, and Amy Mayo was very important to me. Like I told you, her dad put me with them, and I will always be forever grateful to Amy and to Karen, because they were two really good ingredients. Amy had a way of dealing with them, you know, and I had a way, like Amy had a way of dealing with Ron, and I had a way of dealing with Karen. So it was like a little family. And I say this honestly, not to try to just make this up, but really seriously, it was like a family, and it had its problems, like all families. And
Ron Stuvey.
Oh yeah, Ron, yeah, absolutely. These guys were like, they were good for me, even though, and I had the opportunity to go in there and, like, you know, iron sharpens iron, right? Mm-hmm. We know that. So that's the good thing about it. I'm just saying that like all these different components that go into this or any other kind of a career out there or whatever, they're important. You know, they're necessary, and they you can't just you can't just step over them. And then you have to learn how to pick up these tools and use them. It's just like anything. Like these master crafters, and I'm not saying I am, but like people that build guitars, people that, computer people. I mean, just everybody that's doing their thing. If you're happy, or if happy, of course, is just happenings. But at the same time, though, I think we can reach for faith, and for love and grace for the people around us. And I think that's the thing that helps us move on to the next place.
I loved it. I loved it for just the process, and I loved the camaraderie. And
Yeah.
that was one thing that speaking, you and I talking, because we knew each other both then. I think that's one of the things that used to hurt my feelings so bad, was because when I said I love somebody, I loved them all the way through. There was no different setting for different people based on their importance of the business in the business, or what somebody could do for me in the business. I just loved you, and there was one setting. That's all I had, or I didn't, and I avoided those people. But for me, seeing the camaraderie was so important to me, and I was just so proud. See, I was just proud to be in the room with you and Josh. I just loved us being together and going to eat and writing us something. And the fact that our light bill would get paid because we hung out all day doing that was just the craziest thing to me. And I loved that. And I didn't realize until, because it's a business first before anything. And I didn't realize, for some reason, that's where I was completely dense. It didn't soak in. It's a business. It's not about love at all.
You got to break through the business to get into the love.
Yeah,
that wall is just like any other wall, that you have to get through that wall first. You can't just walk in. So you get to the wall, and then you break through, and then you're in. That's the love. And that's anything in this world right now, from chicken eggs to raccoons in a tree. It's like it's that love part of it, and it's the way that you interpret it, I guess, for yourself. And I've always looked at it as being something that was perpetual for me in trying to do more of what I was getting at. So
I thought, I didn't, this was an immaturity thing for me, is I just assumed that people felt the same way coming back to me that I felt towards them. I didn't have the discernment yet to understand that they have a different motivation than I have, and they're not capable of loving me the same way for the same limited reasons. Now once I start making them a bunch of money, that's when all of a sudden all the Christmas cards and all that stuff started blowing up, But the minute that I didn't have something attached to my name, like one of the record deals or a big cut here, a big cut there, all of a sudden I noticed I quit getting all this stuff. The mailman quit bringing me all these Christmas packages and quit bringing me all these freebies and all these things, because that's what made me valuable to them. But to me, I just really liked them, and that's what made them valuable to me, but to them, they had to have something industry wide. And those who hung in there through the decades, like this conversation right here, I don't need anything from you. You don't need anything from me. But when I do get to talk to you, it makes my day better, and therefore it makes my life better just to hear your voice and see your face. That's
when I was in Costaloga Town and when I was a Boy Scout, I got on a bus and went all the way over to like Dayton, Ohio. And I told this one kid to because this was it was a big camp and stuff like that. I said, well, tell what's his face I'm going to this bit jamboree. So I got to that jamboree by myself. There was like one other person I had to remember I don't know how I remembered how I got back to our bus, because this place was gigantic. There was freaking F-15s that were flying over and everything. I went in there, and this is a great little story. I'll make it quick. I went in there and I had 2 patches. One of them was a Costaloga Town. With those 2 patches, I went out and about, and through trading, I ended up having like 25 patches. Just traded from here to there to here to there to here to there, like that. And I remember I was coming back. This is a weird thing, it's kind of a sour thing. I was heading back, and I stopped at a place where a guy was at one of the buses, and there was a kid there, and I said, "Hey, do you want to I was just a kid, okay? Do you want to trade?" Stuff like that. And I said, "Well, this one, that one." I was talking about the threads, and I looked up, and this guy had like a southern accent. I'll never forget it. He goes, "You come on too strong. You just come on too strong." And I was just a kid. And I probably remembered that more than I've remembered a lot of things as far as being offended. You know what I'm saying? But it was a good thing. It was a good thing too. And I went ahead and just took this is the weirdest thing about it, all the patches that I had, I just threw them at the kid, like just not threw it, but like just said, "Here, you take them." I let him take all my patches, and I went back down to the bus and got on the bus. But it was a weird thing, and I thought, no, you're not going to do that to me. And I don't know how I knew that in myself intuitively to do that, because I'm not walking away with that. Here, your kid can have all these patches. It doesn't matter to me. Your attitude is you, not me. And I got up and I went away from it. So all these people out here that like us, don't like us, cared about us, I don't have enough to support that in my the way I work or whatever. I've got, like you do, we got the principal things that we work on, and the past is gone. And like, that's why I said something earlier. I wanted to make sure that I said something about Amy, because there's some times that Amy has really pissed me off. Oh, pardon me. Sorry about that. There was some times that, like, she made me angry,
But we loved her. Loved her.
But she was one of, and still is, and will always be one of my best friends in the whole world. That's not something that's that's outside of my family. I love her family, and I tried to love her dad as much as I could. But I thank God for her, and I thank God for Marv Green, and I thank God for Chris Lindsay. And there's other people too, but I'm thankful to those people, and I don't think I'd be where I was without them, even though, because I can remember people that, like, they were prickly at first, and then all of a sudden they got used to you. So I think we give people as many, we give what we can give, and we just roll with it, and just be who we are. There are a lot of people out there that can help us. I mean, it's not up to us to try to figure all this stuff out, but I do know that I do suffer with, I don't want to say I suffer with something. I'm dealing with some ADHD and stuff like that, and but I'm working on it. And I don't know if you remember, but I was a pretty big guy when you knew me. Now, I don't know if you see me in the video here, but now I've lost all this weight, which is good. I'm glad. It's funny because my wife, I went up in you're talking years and years of, like, having stuff in a closet you didn't know what it was. There were shirts I couldn't even wear, dude. I went in there one time, found these shirts here, when I'd lost all this weight. What do you think about it? Went in, and that shirt fit me like it was just a glove. I told her, I said, "Look at these 3 shirts I found in the daggone closet." So see, there's a little gift right there. 3 shirts there's a song, 3 shirts in the closet. No, let's not do that. But anyway, I'm thankful for every day. I've got kids now. We've had some tragedy in our family. My son-in-law's mom, aunt, and mother were killed in a car wreck coming back from Florida. And it's been hard. We have our grandkids and stuff like that. This guy just was out, I guess he was boar hunting, came across the line coming back from Florida, hit the car and just killed all 3 of them. So we got that we've been dealing with and stuff. It's been a while now. It's been a while now, but when I think about it, I think, oh my God, it just makes me feel, because my son's mom just was so excited about these kids. It was just amazing. So I'm just saying that we all go through different things in life and stuff like that. So I think the key is what we all think, and that is one day at a time. And enjoy what you're doing, and don't force it. This is for all you songwriters out there. Don't force it. Let it happen. Sometimes letting it happen, you got to pop the cork and let it breathe, right?
That's right. And don't chase it. Let it will come to you when you're worthy. When you're ready and when you're worthy, it'll come to you. You just have to make sure that you are visible and you are worthy.
So what we're going to do, we're going to wrap up part 2. I mean, that was a quick 55 minutes. What we're going to do is, I want you to choose. First of all, we're going to bring you back in 90 days. And I can tell you've got a lot more stories.
A lot more.
We're going to bring you in 2 or 3 months. We'll get you back on here, and we'll pick up where we left off, and we'll start right in with you again. I know you've written a bunch of big songs. I want you to choose one of those songs that you wrote. And what we do at the end of this interview, we put that song in at the end of the interview and let the folks know Bill Luther wrote this. This is what I want, something that exemplifies you.
There's a lot of things I could put on there, but I think Kenny Chesney's "What I Need to Do" would be a good one.
What I
love My Best Friend and all these different songs. How Bad Do You Want It? But I think the Kenny Chesney song, aside from My Best Friend that me and Amy had done right around that same time, that was kind of cooking that was in the kitchen. But there was something about me and Tom Danfier getting that cut, and just it being such a great thing. There is a story to that I can tell you if we're going to go with that idea, and I'll save it till next time because it's a cool little story.
Well, I want to play that song. So that would be awesome if you did tell us that story, because the way this interview is going to end is we're going to say our goodbyes. We'll wait for the next time you come, but then we'll play that Kenny Chesney song at the end of the interview.
So do you want me to go ahead and tell you the story?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let it rip. Go now?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. All right. Because my picture went up above in the corner. Well, one of the cool stories that I got that was really neat and was just unexpected was that as we were getting different songs cut with Kenny Chesney, I was getting closer to him, Renee Bill, and people over at RCA. And Kenny had just bought a brand new bus. Brand spanking new. I'd never even been on a bus. I drove down to his house. He was up in Gallatin at the time. And went down to his house, parked my car down there, and his house was really cool. I loved it. It was like a guy house, but I mean, like, it was really cool. It was really neat stuff. And he had a little weight room in there. We could go in and work and do weights and stuff like that. And so I got on the bus with him. I was very excited, very, very excited. There was a show, and I think it was Arkansas or somewhere. There was a big show out there. And Kenny and I rode and talked and things like that. And just, it was a lot of fun going down the highway, being in a bus with a star. And we got all the way down there and stuff like that. Well, then his manager, David, was a super nice guy. And David got a hold of me, and he took me all over the place. Took me out and showed me like the stage setup and lighting and just all kinds of things about T-shirts, and it was just great to be. And he was their manager, their road manager and stuff, and probably more than that too. Super, super nice guy. Took me everywhere, all over the place. Well, we got through the day and stuff like that. Had some lunch. It started getting closer to the show and stuff like that. Well, Kenny, David went out there, and I didn't even have my cowboy boots on. They took me over there to the control board. Okay, so I was over there where the soundboard was and everything like that. And I got over there, and I mean, it was just crazy when I came out. And I went up there, and David said, "Stand right here. Just stay right here." I said, "Okay, I'm right there at the board." Well, then I'm standing there, and at the whole time I don't have my boots on. I got my socks on. Well, then Kenny starts in the middle of what I need to do, in the very middle of that song. He calls me out on the stage.
Oh no.
So I come out on the stage with my socks on, walk out on the stage. And as I get out there, it's weird when you're there, when there's a lot of stuff going on like that. It's really easy for your peripheral vision to like close in. And that's kind of where it was. I didn't have enough time with so many things coming into my brain visually. I didn't have a time my brain, I guess, to process it. So I'm walking out across there and with my socks on. I get all the way out there with Kenny. I get out there and he's playing this song. And he comes in there and he says, I'm not sure how he said it. He wanted me to sing the next verse. And he knew enough that I was terrified, because when I looked out at the crowd, I'm telling you right now, it was a throng of people. It was just so jammed, and it was just the energy coming off of that stage was unbelievable. And Kenny knew to come in, and he came in real close to my ear. And he fed me the first line, 87 more miles, gets me into Baton Rouge. And there's a buddy of mine that I might, and he did, but he knew enough he knew that I was in shock. And he just came and said, 87 more miles. He whispered that into my ear. Then it meant so much, it was like, oh, geez, what a great guy. And anyhow, so then I went ahead and got off stage and waved to everybody. So yeah, that was probably one of the coolest things that ever happened out on the road. Yep. And it was really great. And then even after that, Gretchen Wilson, a lot of different people were there. that and, I was going around and talking to people that songwriters and stuff. They were at that show, so it was a really great night. Probably one of the coolest nights as far as being a songwriter.
Bill, appreciate you being here. Rhino, what you got? You want to close off saying anything to our friend Bill?
Man, Bill, I'm proud to have you. You've been one of the original tribe members. It's time to show everybody who you are and introduce you to everybody, the new crop, the new blood. And I'm proud to have you back with us, my man. And I'm looking forward to the other stuff we're going to do together too, brother, man.
All righty. I love you, man.
I appreciate you. I enjoyed meeting you, and we're going to get with you again in about 90 days. Tell us the name of the song one more time, and then we're going to play it for you.
What I Need to Do.
What I Need to Do. Mr. Kenny Chesney right here on the Uncle Show with Uncle Rhino and Bill Luther. Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, sir. Love you, man. Love you, Ryan.